Good morning. Well, this is very active. Anyway, this is a very important day to sign a very important bill to clean up at least part of the mess that has been created by all sorts of people in the mortgage, the banking, and the servicing business that have caused untold suffering to millions of people across this country and even millions in California. People have lost their homes, they've lost their jobs, families have broken down because of the insensitivity, the greed, and the blindness of very powerful people who made millions of dollars personally and billions of dollars for their respective entities. So today, while we can't solve that entire problem, which will be with us in the form of unemployment and continuing foreclosures for a long time, we can take an important step to protect those who are conscientiously trying to deal with their mortgages, to get them modified, to stay in their home, to keep their families together, and to do the right thing. That's what this bill is all about, helping people do the right thing and making sure that those dealing with home mortgages play straight with their customers. And playing straight means that when you're modifying a loan, you don't, behind their back, start foreclosing to kick them out of the house. Too much of that. So, standing next to me is the woman who got this done, and I know what it takes because I used to have her job. So, Kamala Harris, your Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Governor, for your incredible leadership and constant support. And I know that you know, as you have so passionately said, that this means a lot to all of California, and there's probably no public servant who has been more dedicated to the people of California than you. So thank you for your leadership. And I know that the Senate Pro Tem is going to mention the members of our legislature who were so incredibly significant and important in their leadership and in their strength and in their courage. So I will leave that to him. But I do want to recognize we have a couple of local officials who have been equally important in terms of the advocacy and support. We have Mark Ridley Thomas here, who has been doing this work for years and years and years. And of course, Maria Elena Durazo, who has just been an extraordinary friend and leader. So thank you all. And so, folks, today we are here to say we're done. We're done. We're done with dual track. We're done with the runaround. We're done with the okey doke. We are done with robo-signing. We are done with abusive tactics and empty promises. We're done. We're done. And so what will happen today when this bill is signed is that California and California homeowners will take back a system in a way that gives them due process, gives them transparency, gives them dignity through a fair process. This is about saying that we have had a series of unnecessary foreclosures in a state full of responsible homeowners who have a right to know that when they engage in the pursuit of the American dream, it will not turn into a nightmare. What this bill does is it speaks truth to power about a system that has been proven to be defective. We have been going through this as Californians for at least the last 5 years. We didn't come about this just because we wanted to engage in poetry. We came about this because we have shown, and I know through the investigations of my own office, that up and down this state, we have had responsible homeowners who have been in a system that has been the dual track system, where they have received conflicting information. We know that we have had folks in the state of California who, through the robo-signing process, were foreclosed upon when they shouldn't have been. We know that in this state, we have had folks like the folks I have met with personally, sat down with in Stockton, in Los Banos, here in Boyle Heights, people who are hardworking folks, people like the young man I met who a couple of years ago lost his wife, then lost his job and raising his 2 sons by himself. That same young man who was trying to keep his home and pay a modified payment, and the next thing you know, someone's knocking on his door and saying his house is about to be sold on the front steps of City Hall. It's just not fair. And today, we will end that unfairness. And it is in that way a step in the right direction, and it is the thing that, Governor, as you've said many times to me with great pride, that we do, which is California, so goes California, goes the rest of the country, and what we've done is the right thing here. So I want to thank everybody, and with great pride, introduce a dear friend and an incredible leader. I walk the halls of Sacramento and have a lot recently in connection with our bill. And he, along with Speaker Perez, has been an extraordinary leader in making this day possible, and that is Senate Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg.
Thank you very much, Madam Attorney General. You're a hard act to follow here. Passion, intellect, and fortitude, your fortitude, led us to this day. I want to thank you for all you did to establish the template for this legislation through the national settlement, but also your partnership and your leadership in working with the legislative and executive branches of government to ensure that the work you did is embedded permanently in the California law. This is a great day for California and a great day for you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank the governor as well, of course, for not only signing this important bill today, but for the hard work of yourself and your staff members to work with the legislative branch and the Attorney General to ensure that we earned your signature on this important legislation. And I'm here representing today the legislative branch of government, a branch I'm very proud of. And I know how these issues sometimes go in the legislature. Members with different points of view and different perspectives on issues of civil justice and how to enforce rights. And this measure came about not only as the result of the Attorney General and the governor's leadership, but the leadership of individual members who decided that past differences aside, we're coming together and we're going to provide relief for people who need relief. And so I want to thank Senator Noreen Evans, who's not here today, Senator Ellen Corbett, who's been involved in these issues for a long, long time, Senator Mark Leno, who isn't here as well, was an original author of the bill. And I want to do a special shout out to Senator Ron Calderon, who had a tough role to play and did it with intelligence, with strength, and with the best interests of the people in mind. I thank you, Ronnie, very, very much. I want to thank Mike Feuer as well, who brought the same passion and intellect to this. And Mike, Assemblymember Mike Eng, the co-chair of the conference committee as well, who did the same. And Speaker John Perez, who I know is not here today, but who is an outstanding leader and made sure that this was a top priority. Give Speaker Perez a hand, please. I also want to take them up just to thank the fabulous staff from all offices who put in the countless hours to help. And Steve Bradford, Assemblymember Steve Bradford, who is here today as well. Thank you, Steve, for So, very briefly, the opposition to these measures over many years made it a challenge to get to this day. And yet, these bills, this bill, these provisions, they're common sense protections that will keep Californians in their homes. We all know somebody who's been affected by this plight. And it not only harms people, families, but it harms neighborhoods. And as the Attorney General said a moment ago, it's time that it ends. These bills protect the homeowners, that restores our neighborhoods and communities, and does so without impeding the progress in the housing market. You know, to all the people out there who I know have fought long and hard for this legislation is an example of the fact that justice prevails. Justice doesn't prevail on its own. Justice prevails when people of goodwill work hard, refuse to take no for an answer, and demand that people be treated fairly. And that's what's happening here today. This state's on a bit of a roll. On-time budget, historic foreclosure relief, high-speed rail, let's keep going. My honor to introduce Maria Cabildo, the president of the East Los Angeles Community Corporation, to share a few words with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I just heard someone in the back say, "Sí se pudo." And sí se pudo. This is a really great day. It's a day California's families have been waiting for since 2007. That's when East LA Community Corporation counseled its very first family facing foreclosure. And over the last 5 years, we have provided foreclosure prevention, education, and counseling to thousands of Californians. And it is truly tragic that so many thousands of families had to lose their homes before we got to this day. Everyone involved in this effort to rescue the American dream of homeownership knows that the headwinds have been fierce. We have met every rollout of each new government program and announcements from financial institutions with enthusiasm and hope, only to be deeply disappointed in the lack of actual results for our families. Instead of solutions, we've had constant runaround, lost paperwork, unexplained denials, and misinformation from servicers that led to wrongful foreclosures. It has been a really tough 5 years. We have seen this crisis take a toll on families and communities. The Latino community has been especially hard hit by the crisis. Latino households account for 48% of foreclosures in California. But today, all of that is going to change. The Homeowners Bill of Rights is a true victory for all Californians. The Homeowners Bill of Rights puts an end to the insidious dual tracking system, where many homeowners work diligently to secure a loan modification from their lender, only to have another arm of the bank set a sale date for the auction of their home. Across the country, hundreds of thousands of families have had their many thousands of families that should have qualified for modifications under programs created by the Obama administration lost their homes because lenders focus more on their bottom line than the best interests of families and communities. Starting today, California homeowners will finally have a fair and transparent process. The legislation will stop the endless runaround faced by families at risk of foreclosure and help them retain the homes they have sacrificed so much to keep. California families facing foreclosure should seek out a HUD-approved counseling agency. Saving their home should not have to cost a California family a single cent. I want to emphasize that foreclosure prevention counseling is critical and must be financially supported by the state of California. Across the country, other states are investing their AG settlement to assist struggling families through housing counseling. I hope that California can lead the way on this as well. Investment in housing counseling will go a long way to keep families in their homes, stabilize communities, and more importantly, thwart the efforts of scam artists that prey on individuals in their moment of greatest need. The passage of this bill couldn't have happened without the hard work of Attorney General Harris, and I thank you so much. And she came and sat with our community in Boyle Heights. I want to thank the members of the California legislature for everything they did. I want to especially recognize Senator Calderon because he's in the area where I work on the east side and his leadership. I want to thank the NCLR affiliates, National Council La Raza, Center for Responsible Lending, California Reinvestment Coalition, PICO, and ACE, and the other allies that made today possible. Because it takes boots on the street to make this happen. And finally, I want to thank and acknowledge all those people that have been on the front line of this foreclosure crisis, the hardworking housing counselors across the state that have put in long hours, worked weekends, and made all manner of heroic efforts to save people's homes. Thank you so much.
Down in front, please. Down in front.
Down in front.
Down in front.
Can't see. All right, we're going to say.
Down in front, please. Down in front. Come on, man.